right. It is time that we understand the only thing necessary for wrong to triumph is for right to do nothing.
You know you're out of order. You know the rules of this committee. There's been a motion.
Mr. Elon Musk is out of order and dismantled.
He's out of order.
God. Mr. Chairman, would it be possible to get some therapy dogs in here for my colleagues on the other side of the aisle?
We could ask Mr. Raskin Shrink to.
I'm worried about their mental.
State media busted. Politico, New York Times, and others found getting gobs of federal government money, and interesting things happened when they got that money. Suddenly, their stories and their coverage all changed and supported the power structure like Joe Biden and the Democrats. A surprising moment at the White House press briefing today when Karoline Leavitt came out and revealed what we all suspected, that Politico and others are bought and paid for and are fake news.
USAID has gotten a lot of attention in the last couple of days with some of these bizarre things that taxpayers have been funding. Now it looks like there are a couple media outlets that have been dragged into this conversation as far as USAID funding as well. Does the president have any comment on that?
So coming out here to the briefing room, I was made aware of the funding from USAID to media outlets, including Politico, who I know has a seat in this room. And I can confirm that the more than $8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayers' dime will no longer be happening. The DOGE team is working on canceling those payments now. Again, this is a whole of government effort to ensure that we are going line by line when it comes to the federal government's books. And this president and his team are making decisions across the board on, do these receipts serve the interests of the American people? Is this a good use of the American taxpayers' money? If it is not, that funding will no longer be sent abroad and American taxpayers will see.
All right, so thanks to Karoline for explaining that to us. Many people on the interwebs had been searching and identifying what was happening with Politico and where the spending was going. In fact, this person called Max Tani posted this one, said, staff at Politico did not get paid for the latest pay period, right? And this idea is that USAID got their funds cut off. Politico was getting paid $8 million by the whole government, and maybe that money is starting to dry up. Says staff at Politico did not get paid for the latest pay period. The company just sent several emails to employees saying it believes there was a technical error, looking on how to fix this issue, and they did fix it, right? It was pretty quick. Said that staff this afternoon did get paid. Said, dear team, Gouveia and I want to address this morning's payroll issue directly due to what we believe was a technical error, or they had to shuffle funds around. Employees did not get their paychecks. We understand the urgency of this matter, sincerely apologize for the inconvenience. And a lot of the funding has been cut off right everywhere. It's not just stop spending money at USAID, DOD, all of these other agencies that may have been funneling funds to Politico are all getting cut off. Now, our team is working diligently with our vendors. We'll get you paid. They ultimately did get paid, but people are noticing that this is what this looked like. They sent, copied by Lisa Alexander and Elon, noting this, saying, this is odd. The details are on here that subscriptions for Politico are for 37 users in the FDA for $500,000, all right? So Politico Pro subscription, 37 users. The subscriptions are anywhere from like $8,000 to $10,000, maybe $11,000 user. So if you do the math on that, right, they are then spending $443,000 for software, and software can be pretty dang expensive. And you can actually look up Politico Pro. So they're going to give you all this for like a simple fee of like $10,000 a month. You're going to get government features like directories, personalized dashboard, coverage areas, personalized news feed. You're going to be able to follow, get news alerts like Google News Alerts and Pro Data and all this stuff, right? What is Politico Pro? Let's learn more about this. 1,000 topics. It's just like a ton of news. Policy news, stakeholder management, directories, trackers, campaign races, dashboard. Start your free trial. It's expensive. It's like $10,000 a month. I was looking it up. And of course, here is what the funding really looks like. This came over from this gentleman, David Procino. What's up, David? Shared this one, says New York Times also got paid. New York Times here, $3.1 million in contracts coming out to them. It's state media, right? Just by another name. Here's Politico. $32 million in contracts is what he's identifying. I don't know what the length of time that is, 4 years or what length of time, but $32 million there. Funding they get from USAID, some like BBC saying they get USAID money, right? Funding the media, funding the news. And then what do we get out of that is we'll see we get stories that favor the people who are paying them. This came over from Stephen L. Miller, said, guess which outlet led the Biden campaign and the intel officials solicited the laptop letter story to? Where'd that go, right? To Politico. And Politico was told, don't report on the story. Jen Psaki, Hunter Biden stories, Russian disinfo, dozens of former intel officials say. Guess who wrote that? Guess who gave them cover? Politico did. Fake news and tried to rig an election that they were paid for by the government to rig. Sick. Orban Viktor has commented here, you know him as the Prime Minister of Hungary, says, so apparently USAID financed ultra-progressive Politico in Brussels and basically the entire left wing in Hungary under the previous administration. And they called me Disruptor of the Year. Says, I think the world owes a debt of gratitude to President Trump for uncovering and putting an end to this dark conspiracy, right? Funding news all over the place with their garbage propaganda. And there's more from the USAID. Rapid Response assembled this list. Take a look at some of these numbers. And our friends at American Thinker also put this together with links to all the sources. Here are some of the things they were spending money on. Almost $2 million to strengthen trans organizations in Guatemala. $1.5 million to advance LGBTQT, whatever, in Serbia. $151 million to Gaza and the West Bank. Again, why? In the years after, $420 million to Gaza. Canceled $237 million in contracts in Afghanistan, but still paid $61 million for work there. $70,000 for Ireland DEI musical bands, great. $30 million for HIV in Africa. $200 million to the Wuhan Institute of Virology, right? $2.5 million electric vehicles in Vietnam. Trans Care Clinic in Vietnam. $25,000 for a Trans Opera Colombia. Trans Comics in Peru. Expand atheism in Nepal. $6 million. Tourism in Egypt. Iraqi version of Sesame Street, capturing a lot of eyeballs today. $20 million. $4.4 billion in Haiti. Most of that ended up in Hillary Clinton's pockets and the rest of the Democratic Party. It's sick. This is what it was for. Millions on illegals. Millions to the America Bar Association, which is trying to keep illegals here and stop Trump, essentially. It's a very far left organization. Congress people has a vested interest in keeping them functioning because they're getting hundreds of millions to their pet projects, and now the grift is coming to an end. And this is why they're so mad. In fact, the website is down. You're like, oh man, I need to get my government cheese. I need to go get paid. They're like, USAID, I'm going to log into my portal and just request $1 million and get it in 5 minutes. It's done. On Friday, all USAID direct hire personnel will be placed on administrative leave globally, with the exception of designated personnel. Essential personnel must come home by tomorrow, Thursday, February 6th at 3 p.m. If you're expected to continue working there, you'll be notified by tomorrow. For USAID personnel, if you're currently out of state, we're preparing a plan, and you're going to have to come back within 30 days and provide for termination of the contracts. The agency will consider exceptions and so on. Further guidance will be coming soon. Thank you for your service, but you're done. Goodbye. USAID.gov is now out, and they are so mad about this. Here was Cory Booker losing his stinking brain over this outside of Washington, basically insurrecting your eardrums. Here's what they sounded like.
This must be a coalition that grows and grows and grows. There can be no bystanders in this fight. It is time that we understand the only thing necessary for wrong to triumph is for right to do nothing, for right to be silent. And so understand this. There are legislators walking through here, but these are the ways we're going to fight.
All right, like, look at his face. That's how mad he is. I've never seen him that mad before. Here's another one from Chris Coons. They dragged them all out today, one after another.
If Elon Musk wins and our foreign assistance completely ends, who will cheer and who will win? The cartels will win.
We'll cheer.
Terrorists will win. Russia will win.
Oh.
China will win. This effort is not efficient. It is not sane. It is not respectful. And it does not make America safe. So let's pull together and tell the real story of foreign aid and the ways that it saves lives, advances our values, and makes
Your
our
donors.
world a better place. Thank you all very much.
All right, so he came out too. And then the last one were these two, Chuck Schumer. Here is what they looked like and sounded like yesterday.
We will win. We will win. We will win. We will win. We won't rest. We won't rest.
All right, so that's Democrats. Now, they also had a full-on protest out there today. So you can see this is what it looks like. Quite a lot of government people, I guess, just since they're not getting their USAID money anymore, they're like, they got plenty of time on their hands. So where'd all these people come from? Are they actually working? Oh, no, they're not. They can't go in their buildings.
Your family Families on the line, dedicating your lives to this work. Prevent conflict, spread democracy, and prevent our young men and women from having to go and fight more needless wars.
What? You're the same people lecturing us about Ukraine.
So yes, the assault of Elon Musk and Donald Trump and his billionaires and the energy executives is not an accident. They want to gut these efforts to make money, to make profit, to spread instability around the world.
To save money and to enhance America, to not fund foreign grifts.
Will not let it happen. You have some fighters here behind me. We are here because we are prepared to fight. We will litigate, we will organize, we will communicate, we will use all the leverages available to us during the appropriations and budgeting process. We will fight hard with you and for you. Thank you. Let's get it done.
They do not like it when you take their money. The entire Democratic Party is coming to a crumbling halt. They can feel it, and they're trying to take it out on Elon. We want to subpoena Elon, and we want to dox his staff, and we want to make threats to them and all these things, and it's not going to work out for them. I don't think that they have the constitutional underpinnings to accomplish what they're claiming they can accomplish. So instead, they're just throwing a hissy fit. This is a woman in Congress who tries to make a point of order, and when you make a point of order, you're not supposed to run your mouth and talk garbage like she tried to do.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's outrageous that this committee will not even entertain.
No, you state your, that's not a point of order.
Somebody
You know,
who's breaking the law and dismantling our federal agencies.
You're out of order.
No, we don't listen to data,
out of
and
order.
you will not even entertain
Nope,
a
sorry.
motion
The
to
motion
bring
of
this
order
in
in this
front
is
of the
demagoguery. This is
oversight
Any
committee.
is are in favor of tabling.
Yes,
signify.
let's have order in this country.
Stansbury, you're out of order. You know you're out of order. You know the rules of this committee. There's been a motion.
Mr.
and a
Elon
second
Musk
to
is
table.
out of
No.
order and dismantling.
He's out of order.
Pathetic. Mr. Elon Musk is out of order. He's not even here. So you can see they were making a lot of progress here. Here was another rip about getting them shrinks and therapy dogs for the Democrats in Congress.
Mr. Chairman, would it be possible to get some therapy dogs in here for my colleagues on the other side of the aisle?
We could ask Mr. Raskin Shrink to.
I'm worried about their mental stability.
He called out Jamie Raskin's shrink in there. Isn't that a violation of HIPAA to say that Raskin needs therapy? I don't doubt it, but maybe shouldn't have mentioned that on the congressional floor. Is it just one therapist? Like, how many therapists does he have? Do they specialize in TDS? Are they certified? I hope so. Here's a great update from Aesthetica. He says, all right, talk to a friend who has connections within the Democratic Party, and he said the level of panic over Trump and Elon shutting down USAID is unlike anything he's ever seen. By following the money, DOGE has struck a killing blow to the heart of the Democrat deep state machine. Here's a direct quote. This is worse than 9/11 for Democrats. USAID is the primary vessel they use to achieve their political agenda. USAID is and always has been the primary source of funding for their influence peddling schemes and for their indirect sources of income. Here's another text. Based on the reactions from within the party, it seems to me that dismantling USAID is Trump's biggest political victory to date. It was his enemy's golden goose. Same source told me during the campaign, well before it was public, that Kamala was losing internally. Trump had his information, so he says this person's good. They're plugged in. Another important addition. He said initial plans by Democrats is to have their people at USAID hide the partisan funding under unimpeachable offenses like, saving grandmas from dying. You're like, wow, how much money do you need? We love our grandmas. Funding under unimpeachable initiatives. They will push back really hard on certain line items that on their face look like reasonable expenditures and hide their political spending under these programs. Tags Elon. Looks like the whole thing needs to be thrown out, and here's more. Another likely solution from the Democrats, which they already use to reward VIPs, is to use the NGOs as an intermediary to direct the funds where they want them to go. So basically, USAID allocates funds for certain initiatives that look reasonable. Then Democrat-friendly NGO is contracted to carry out the initiative. NGO 1 then subcontracts VIP, which is another NGO owned or operated by a political ally or a Democrat. Eventually, the funds reach the secret intended target and the original problem is not solved. This means they can continue to rinse and repeat this grift. Says if Trump and Elon want to stick this to them, they need to completely shut down the USAID, fire the entire staff the party has constructed so their allies can't make waves and blend in. Says USAID is 99% Democrats and they will not be able to save it without risking internal sabotage. Here's more from Karoline Leavitt explaining what Elon does, why he's lawful. And by the way, I think we read the executive order here. There was like a trillion of them. I can't remember. But the DOGE executive order, they were just repurposing another agency. They renamed the Digital Services Agency something, whatever it was. They just renamed it. It's all lawful. They just put different people under that agency in charge, got funding from Congress. It's all legitimate. So they're just throwing a temper tantrum about nothing. Here's Karoline explaining.
If you heard that type of violent, enticing rhetoric from our side of the aisle, from Republican leaders on Capitol Hill, I think there would be a lot more outrage in this room today. It's unacceptable, the comments that have been made by these Democrat leaders, and frankly, they don't even know what they're talking about. Because President Trump was elected with a mandate from the American people to make this government more efficient. He campaigned across this country with Elon Musk, vowing that Elon was going to head up the Department of Government Efficiency, and the two of them, with a great team around them, were going to look at the receipts of this federal government and ensure it's accountable to American taxpayers. That's all that is happening here, and for Democrat officials to incite violence and encourage Americans to take to the streets is incredibly alarming, and they should be held accountable for that rhetoric.
Insurrectionary language, they should be arrested immediately. All right, here's JD Vance. I can't believe these people. They're so upset about losing their money, but why are they sending tax dollars all over the world to promote atheism, transgender comic books, and undermine religion throughout the world?
How did America get to the point where we're sending hundreds of thousands of taxpayer dollars abroad to NGOs that are dedicated to spreading atheism all over the globe? That is not what leadership on protecting the rights of the faithful looks like. And it ends with this administration. And I'd add that part of our protecting religious freedom initiatives means recognizing in our foreign policy the difference between regimes that respect religious freedom and those that do not. The United States must be able to make that distinction. We must be able to look at the catastrophes like the plight of Iraq's Christians over the past 3 decades and possess the moral clarity to act when something has gone wrong.
JD looking good, sounding good. It makes sense that the American taxpayer dollars should be used to further American interests around the world. The American people just elected President Trump, JD. The people now taking over USAID. Elon's a part of that team, right? And the vision is to build better America free of the corruption. The problem is you make the grift in the gray area. You make your money in the madness. And that's what the Democrats have been doing for years. Now it's coming to a close, and that's why they're crying and hysterical about it. And we couldn't be experiencing any more joy. Kamala was right.